Hello and welcome back. In previous videos we looked at how to create events on a calendar, and we looked at some of the options to go along with those events. That they can span multiple days, you can include time frames, you can add locations which will link you up to a map if you need to actually get there. You can add additional notes, you can put it on various calendars, etc. Today what we're going to look at is repeat options. Okay, so let me create a new event for this, and I'm going to go back to this date, and I'm going to say curriculum team meeting. On this front screen I can add a time, so I can just say that this is going to take place at 2 p.m. It's going to be a 1-hour meeting, so that's fine. I'm going to leave it on this calendar for now. But I can go to more options. Previously what I did is I saved an event, and then I came back into that event and I used the edit menu. But if you want to create this with more detail from the beginning, you simply click on more options, and you can see that the settings here, the date is here, the time is here, and here are all those other settings we've looked at previously where you could add a location, etc. But something we didn't work with previously was this option. Okay, so I can choose to repeat this daily, weekly on Monday, monthly on the third Monday, and these are things it's just figuring out from the date that I'm starting with, annually on March 18th, every weekday, Monday through Friday. And so these are your quick selections. If any of those make sense to you, you can use them, but you get the most control under custom. So if I go to custom, it's going to give me all of those options here. So here I can say repeat every 1 day. Okay, so this is going to put this conference meeting every day going forward. And when is this going to end? It's never going to end. It's just going to continue day after day after day on my calendar. I probably don't want that. The first thing is we're probably only meeting every week. Now you can see that it's repeating on Monday. I would have the option of saying we're going to do this every Thursday or every Tuesday, but I'm going to say every Monday. Note now that because I've clicked it twice, I can select more than 1 day. So if I wanted to meet every Monday and Thursday going forward, I could simply set it up that way. So now I'm going to meet every Monday and Thursday, and that's going to repeat every 1 week, meaning every Monday and Thursday. Let's see what it looks like first. We'll save that. And there you go, 2 p.m. curriculum meetings, Mondays and Thursdays. And if I were go on to March or April or May or June, they would be there. Okay, if I would go into yearly view and check any date going forward, I would find them there. Now, let me come back and click on that first instance again and go to Edit. Come back to Custom. Say, well, we really only have meetings every other week on Mondays. So I'm going to uncheck that. Now it's only going to go on Mondays. But if I want it every other week, I just tell it to repeat every 2 weeks. So it's going to skip the intervening week. Let's see how that works. So we say done and save. Now, because I had a previous entry and I'm changing it, it's asking me whether I want to only change this particular entry, this entry, and everything going forward. So this was the first one. It doesn't really matter too much, but let's say that this had been going on for 2 months and I made the change on a date, on my 8th instance of this. This second option would change it for that 8th instance and every instance after that, but not the ones that had come before. And if I click this, it kind of updates it in both directions, anything that's come before, anything that comes after. In this case, these two things are the same thing because I'm on the first one. But I'm just going to say all events, and I'm going to say OK. And now you can see the curriculum meetings drop out of Thursdays because I took that off, and now they skip every other week. So now it's occurring on the 18th and again on the 1st. Let's see what other kind of options we have there. I have to go back in and edit at this point. And you can see that this description is changing. It's coming out here on my quick selects, but it's based on what I did in this custom area. Now I could decide that this isn't going to go on forever. You know, it's going to go on till the end of the year. So I could basically just say that it ends, let's say our last day of school is the 21st. Now note that the 21st is not a Monday. That doesn't matter. It's simply going to repeat every other week following that pattern. I'm not sure if 17th is a week that occurs on, or if it's the 10th and 24th. But basically it doesn't make sense that we're going to meet after the 21st because we're no longer in school, so I'm going to terminate it on that date. I'm going to say done. I'm going to say save. I'm going to do it for all events. I'm going to wait for a second. It updates. April, May, June. Oh, and I can see that following that every other week pattern, we would not have met on the 17th anyway. But because we cut off here on the 21st, I don't see one on the 24th. Now, let's take a look at how we can edit individual events in this series. You can see that we're going to meet on the 27th, but perhaps we're not in school on the 27th. So I want to delete this date without disrupting the rest of the series. I can click on it. I could go to edit and there will be a delete option under more actions, but I can also delete it directly from here. So I'm going to do that. And now these choices make a lot of sense to me. So do I want to delete this event and everything going forward? Perhaps we completed our work on the 13th and we don't need to meet again. This would delete the 27th and anything after that. Do I want to delete everything, including those that have already occurred? No. But in this case, I want to get rid of just this instance of the meeting. So I click this event and I say OK. The 27th disappears, but we meet again on the 10th here. Okay, let me get back there to the first event, see if there's anything else that makes sense here for me. There you go. It's been a little sluggish. Okay. Back in custom. You can see that there was another option here. I cut this off at a particular date, and I picked the 21st, but it adjusted my date when it figured out what my last meeting date would be. So now it knows it's, June 11th. We're not going to meet after that. So if you caught the fact that this date is not the same one I entered, then, good for you. That's very observant. Now, the other option I had here is I could have said we're going to meet every 2 weeks, but we're going to discontinue this after 13 meetings or 10 meetings or 9 meetings. So I could change this number here, and this is just a different, I'm not going to do it, this is just a different way to limit the number of events that you have. Okay, note that if you change this to days, your options change. Under weeks, you can select multiple days in a week, but it really doesn't make sense to have that option when you're working with days. When you select months, I have two options here. I can do it the date, like the 18th of every month, or I can set it to something like it realizes this is the third Monday. So I can say, I'm going to get my hair cut the third Monday of every month and just set that on my calendar. Okay, when you come to yearly, now this repeats every 2 years, which isn't often the case, so I'll set that back down to every year. And now you would say this repeats every year on June 11th. So this is a great kind of setting for a birthday. Okay, you want to remind yourself of somebody's birthday, you put it on there, you say please repeat it every year on a particular date. But I'm going to cancel that. And that really covers your options for repeating. Best thing for you to do to learn how to repeat things is to get in there and try it all out. Try one using days, weeks, months, years. Play around with them a little bit to see what kind of options or controls you can get by playing with the available options. And I think you're going to find that it meets pretty much any need that you would have. Now, last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's just say that we have this meeting on April 1st, but there's going to be a special meeting on the 4th, and this Thursday meeting is only going to occur this one time. Now, one simple thing to do would be to just create a separate event here. But perhaps you have a lot of information associated with these events. You have a location, you have some attachments, you have some notes, etc. So another way to do that would be simply to go to this event and start the duplication process. But once you get in there, I'm simply going to say that this does not repeat. I am going to change this to the date. So now it's the 4th from 2 to 3. I could change the time or customize it if I wanted. But now that it doesn't repeat this particular event, so I've got April 1st, I've got April 4th, and you can see that it doesn't disturb the flow of the rest of my events. So I've basically used that event to create something that's unassociated with the series. Okay, that's all there is to repeating events. Very useful. There's a lot of complexity there. There's a lot of ways to use that to pretty much get done almost anything you want to get done. Anything that follows a pattern can really be set up in there if you play around with it. And that's what I would recommend, is playing around with all the options until you really understand how it works, and that'll create opportunities for you to create repeating events in an efficient way.